in 2023. I experienced one of the most unnerving and scary nights of my life. I can't explain what happened. I never liked staying home alone, but after this night, I don't think I've ever stayed overnight anywhere alone since. At the time, my fiancé Ryan and I were looking to buy a house since our lease just expired in our apartment, and we didn't want to renew for another whole year. One of my dad's oldest friends owned a house in the area that was currently available to rent, because the previous renters had passed away. Since my dad was so close to the owner of the house, he agreed to let us stay there for a cheap rate, and also told us we could stay as long as we wanted. Basically, we were renting month to month in a nice home in a beautiful area of town. It took a lot of house hunting stress away. The only downside for me was that I wasn't thrilled about moving into a house where both residents died within a few weeks of each other inside the house. They were old, so it wasn't like a vicious death or anything. But still, I didn't love the idea. It didn't bother Ryan at all. He was excited about the low price tag of the house. He's not one to believe in bad energy, but I most definitely am. I remember when we first moved in, he would constantly mock me for being afraid. He even went as far as to mimic ghost sounds just to mess with me. Don't get me wrong, Ryan's a great guy. I know I'm painting a picture of him being a jerk, but he's always just joking around. Sometimes you need to knock him down when he plays around too much, and I always did. When we first moved in, it had this awful tan carpet all throughout the house. My dad's friend told us that he was having someone come over to tear out the carpet and put in hardwoods because the carpet was stained all over the place on top of just being ugly. In the living room, there was a giant dark stain on the carpet. The first day we moved in, Ryan asked my dad's friend if he knew where the stain came from, and he shared information I wish I hadn't heard. It's really sad. The woman fell, hit her head on an end table, and the stain was from the blood. They think that was what led to her passing. She went to the hospital that night, and unfortunately she never came home. Then he proceeded to tell us that her husband had passed away just a few weeks before her. He had a heart attack in the basement. I was horrified to be living in this house, even just temporarily, but sometimes you need to do what's most cost efficient, and this was it. We had only been there for maybe 2 days when they came to do the floors. I was so happy when the carpet was gone. He also had someone come in and paint the inside of the house. Just that little touch-up made the house feel so much better. After those little cosmetic touches, I started to settle in. It also helped that he added one of those annoying security systems inside the house as well. Every time you open the door, you get the automated voice saying, "Front door open." It got old very fast. Even though it was annoying, it did make me feel better. It was a little over a month of being there, and Ryan was leaving for the weekend. It was his bachelor party. I was a little on edge about being alone for a couple of nights, but by this time the house felt like a home. I also had the company of our cattle dog, Rex, which made me feel safe. Friday, July 7th, I left for work at 7 a.m. I kissed Ryan goodbye because he was heading out a few hours later and wouldn't be back until Sunday afternoon. I got home that evening and felt a little off. I was positive that I was just feeling anxious because I was alone. I ordered myself Thai food since Ryan hates it and it's my favorite. I put on The Office and just watched my Feelude show until I started getting tired. I think it was close to midnight, and I began to hear this weird noise coming from the basement. This was an older house, so I just kept telling myself that the house is creaking. I turned off the TV and started heading into the bedroom. That's when Rex ran to the basement door and started barking. This was not normal behavior for Rex. He was protective but quiet. He didn't really bark a lot. He mostly howled when he would get vocal. But on this night, he was barking. He sounded tense, like something was wrong. I tried consoling him, but he wouldn't calm down. I don't know why I did this, but I slowly opened the basement door and turned the light on. Rex stopped barking and started to growl. I was going to go down and just make sure everything was okay. And then I remembered that the old man died down there. I know it sounds crazy, but that freaked me out. I felt frozen at the top of the stairs. I couldn't even look. I tried taking a picture of the basement from the top of the stairs, but it was just too dark down there to see anything. I was too scared to go down there myself and look, especially with Rex losing his mind. I shut the door and went to the bedroom. Eventually, Rex calmed down and joined me in the room. He wasn't barking or growling anymore. Instead, he stayed at the bottom of the bed, staring at the door all night. It was like he was on high alert. This scared me more than his barking. I slept horribly that night. I expected someone or something to run into my room at any moment. I made my coffee in the morning and got ready for the day. I planned on catching up on some chores around the house that I had been neglecting. I gathered all my laundry, and when I made my way to the laundry room, I freaked out. This may seem small and trivial to some, but it freaked me out like you can't even believe. The washing machine was sticking out from the wall several feet. Not just a little wiggle, This thing was nearly in the middle of the room. At first, I ran out of the room. I couldn't figure out how or why something like that could happen. Once I composed myself, I went back to the washer and checked it out. Other than being in the middle of the room, nothing else seemed out of place. I moved it back to where it was, and it wasn't easy. This was a heavy unit. I felt like I should have heard it moving. Even though I was completely on edge, I continued with everything I had planned for the day. I called Ryan and told him about everything. I could tell he was skeptical and apprehensive, but he still believed me mostly and was concerned. He's just one of those people who believes everything can be explained by something. That's probably true in this situation as well, but I still couldn't shake these nerves and that horrible feeling brewing inside. He told me they were heading home first thing in the morning and that he would be back sometime in the late morning, which was at least earlier than they originally planned. Saturday night was a lot like Friday night. I got some food, cuddled up with Rex on the couch, and watched The Office. It was 9:18 that night, and I heard something loud outside the house. It was loud enough that it made me jump. Even with the TV super loud, it sounded like an explosion. Then I got a notification on my phone from the garage camera. I pulled it up and there was a video. My garage door was open in the video, which is crazy. We literally never use the garage door. We only use the garage for storage. We didn't park in it because we both had bigger vehicles. In the video, you can see flashes coming from the driveway. The video doesn't do it justice, though. It just sounds like fireworks. I opened the door from the house that led to the garage. I looked in the driveway and there appeared to be no evidence of fireworks, an explosion, or anything. It was the strangest thing. I saved the video and closed the garage door. Trying to get comfortable in bed after that was not easy. After the incident in the driveway, my heart was racing because I had no idea what had just happened. My brain was confused because I couldn't even process why I was scared. I couldn't tell if I was scared of something insidious in the house that I can't see, or if there was someone actually messing with me. I think I got up 3 separate times and made sure the security alarm was set. Just like the previous night, Rex stood guard at the bottom of the bed, staring at the door, occasionally letting a light growl slip. I ended up falling asleep eventually. I woke up suddenly because someone was pounding on my front door. I looked at the time and it said 3:39 in the morning. I had the bedroom door shut, so he couldn't get out of the room. I just stayed in bed. I couldn't move if I even wanted to. Wasn't like somebody knocking. It was just a continuous banging on the door. Finally, I got up. Just before opening the bedroom door, I heard front door open coming from the security system. I ran to lock the bedroom door. I grabbed my phone to call the cops, but it wouldn't turn on. Whenever I would press the side button to get the screen to light up, it just lit up with a black screen. I think this was the moment I started to cry. I looked over, and I was able to visibly see the door knob shaking. I started screaming, "Go away." I called the police and told them someone had broken into the house. They showed up promptly and found nothing out of the ordinary except for the fact that the front door was wide open. Nothing had been stolen and there was no sign of any foul play at all. I showed the police the video and they assumed it was most likely some kids lighting fireworks off, even though there was zero evidence of that in the driveway. As for the door opening, the cops told me it must have been the wind. Yeah, that's it. The wind on a humid July night is going to shoot open a door that's locked with a deadbolt. That really nailed the case on this one. After the police left, it was nearly dawn. I took Rex and drove to my parents' house. I stayed there until Ryan got home. I told them what happened. They were kind of on the side of the police, but still comforted me anyway. When Ryan got home, I told him everything, and he didn't think I had a brush with anything paranormal as I did, but he did feel like something had happened, and he was concerned. We did stay at that house for a couple more months until we found our new home. Nothing ever happened again. Before that weekend, I had never experienced anything even remotely unexplainable like that, and nothing like that has ever happened since. At the time of writing this, we're almost to the 3-year anniversary of that night. Whatever I experienced that weekend, I just hope I never experience anything like that again.